I knew from when I was 6 years old I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be in quote-unquote show business. I never let no one tell me I couldn't do it. So I just put that in the back of my mind, and then I just said once I get to the point where I can do my own thing, I was going to do my own thing.
Ralph Lauren, it is so waspy to have that singular one person, Tyson, turned it 360 degrees around, and all of a sudden there was nothing to be said.
It used to be like all light-skinned guys with curly hair, and now it's like dark-skinned guys with bald heads. So now it's cool to be of a darker complexion.
What Tyson has done for aspiring black male models is that he has shown them that they could be bigger or as big as any white counterpart.
There's never been one of him before, and there hasn't been another one yet. So that's a testament to how hard he works.
What's up, mama? What's up? Tyson, right over here. Your shoulder. Tyson, stay there.
Okay, right here.
My name's Tyson Beckford. What it is to be a king is one who takes care of his kingdom.
When Tyson debuted around the world in polo sport, it was a cultural phenomenon. It wasn't just the hottest model of the day being featured in a big new campaign, nor was it the same as casting a black rapper and dressing him up in nice clothes. For starters, Tyson's body alone made him a specimen, all covered in Chinese dragon tattoos. Then there was his aquiline features, high cheekbones, strong lips, and intense gaze. But when you added Ralph's unique way of styling clothes together with Bruce Weber's magical image making, it was simply otherworldly. Even in a tank top with a sweat towel on his head, Tyson looked regal, sophisticated, strong, and always just a little dangerous. It was as if we were seeing a new kind of mythic creature, like a centaur or sphinx, not just another supermodel, a never-before-seen manifestation of masculine perfection.
In this new film and book series presented to you by yours truly, Tyson Beckford, we will look at the emergence and explore the evolution of a new kind of God with the rise of the male supermodel.
Tyson Beckford is a name almost synonymous with the male fashion industry today. But his early upbringing in Rochester in the Bronx in New York City was anything but glamorous.
If hell was a place, it would be called Rochester. So growing up as a teenager in Rochester was rough. I mean, I rode skateboards and I got harassed by the police all the time. I mean, I got chased by the Rochester PD all the time for no apparent reason. I'm just walking down the street, they turn on their lights and just chase me for no reason.
They can be seen. Do not fight with the police. Do not run from the police. Do not have any type of weapons. Make sure you protect yourself, de-escalate situation, and understand that police have guns and they will use them against you and they will lie and make false statements.
I'd get off the bus and immediately be a foot chase. I felt like, you know, between the gangs that were in those neighborhoods in Rochester and the police, I felt like I was up against the gangs, I was up against the police, I was up against any neighbor's dog whose fence I had to hop and run through. It was a nightmare for me growing up there.
Tyson's not just a model, he's a role model.
It's obvious in my eyes growing up as a kid that I was part Chinese, but America hadn't seen a black Chinese man before.
Tyson Beckford came on the scene and it was, it was an explosion.
For me, everything aligned. Ralph Lauren campaign, Toni Braxton video, so many more after that, but it all aligned, and we were rock stars.
Tyson Beckford is an anomaly. He isn't something that will come along often, and there are people that come to Earth that won't be replaced. I think he's one of those people.
Now, new forces such as social media, diversity, gender fluidity, body shape, representation, and inclusion are shaping the culture's current idea of the ideal. Supermodel. Hearing those words, many people conjure up the single names of Linda, Naomi, or Christy. Maybe a Cindy comes to mind.
90s was a supermodel era with all the female models, they were superstars.
We have taken you around the world to meet the most beautiful models, but now women are asking, one of them next to me, where are the great-looking guys?
There was this emergence of masculinity and male models at that time.
The female supermodel phenomenon opened the doors for the male supermodels.
Before I started modeling, nobody even cared about male models. They were in the background or like an accessory to the women.
So what is the recipe for a male supermodel? A dash of charm, 5% body fat, shredded muscles, a boatload of raw sex appeal, and a decent sprinkle of really good luck.
Well, let me look at this calendar here. Now, let's picture on the front here.
I think the 90s was definitely a golden era for the male model.
Because it was a very good time for the 90s with the male model. With the Marcus coming out. There were so many good guys.
In the 90s, many say it was Swede Marcus Schenkenberg who rose up to be the first male supermodel.
Marcus embodied a complete Adonis. Marcus's physicality is as perfection as we get with the male species.
It was almost like a ballet dancer, his body. The proportions were magnificent.
Long legs and a broad shoulder and a smaller waist, and that he had his long hair, which was kind of interesting.
The great Gianni Versace said of Marcus, "It is not often that one sees a man like Marcus. He's so comfortable with his body and with himself that he transcends the limits of culture. In this sense, he is free, and by looking at him, you also feel free."
For me, the number one model of all time is John Pearson, because if you hired John Pearson for a job, he would bring so much of his own personality.
I mean, he's Montgomery Clift handsome, an excellent model. He's a wonderful human being.
So many people used to chase after John down the street and shout, "Hey, Mr. GQ, Mr. GQ," because he was in GQ, I think, every single issue for about 10 years or something crazy.
When I did my first GQ shoot, and I had no idea, it's a magazine, it's another magazine. I was so ignorant as to which was great and which wasn't. I left that up to my agent, but then I think I was the only guy to be in GQ in the 80s, 90s and the noughties, and I became the GQ man. So I'd have people chasing me down the street saying, "Hey, GQ John, hey, Mr. GQ," which was kind of in New York and in Italy and in London, all over the place.
David Gandy at this point is iconic. I mean, the man is Mr. Perfect.
Can we put you in a perspective for people who aren't familiar with the world of fashion, world of modeling? I think most people will recognise your face even if they didn't necessarily know exactly where from.
Absolutely.
How many campaigns have you been involved in? Kind of how much? Where are you in the kind of list of top male models? Where would you be if someone?
Very bad. They say I'm the #1 British model at the moment.
#1 British male model, ladies and gentlemen.
I think I have an easy, marketable face, and I think that's what attracts a lot of designers.
Mark Vanderloo, for me, is up there in the same level as John Pearson. He's just so elegant and so strong.
I look at you, and I see myself.
I look at you, and I see my world.
As long as we're together, time can't touch us.
My name is Alex Lundqvist. That's Q-V-I-S-T. I know, it's very hard to spell.
The clients aren't stupid, you know? They know that if they use Alex, that Alex is going to sell product. They know that he presents a dream. He's a great-looking kid who's going to fit into their vision for the campaign, and that in turn is going to help sell clothing.
I said to myself when I started this that if I'm going to do this, I might as well give 100% of it.
Alex Lundqvist was one of my favorites because in addition to him just looking great and everything, he is such a sweet guy and takes his job really seriously as far as like wanting to know the point of view, really wanting to know the direction. He's a very smart guy. He is very worldly, and I think he brought a real European sense of taste and nobility and cool to the pages of GQ.
My name. Well, I've heard a couple of different stories my whole life. My mom and dad just kind of told me that they were lucky to have a boy after having 3 girls, so they named me Lucky. But I also heard that they knew of someone named Lucky and they really, really liked it. And when my mom wanted Blue as my first name, and then my dad wanted Lucky, and then my mom was just like, well, if he's in high school and he knew that his name could have been Lucky, he's gonna be pretty bummed. And she's right, I would have been. So, yeah, she just named me Lucky Blue.
Piercings and, you know, and I wear destroyed clothes. I mean, lately, I'm 46 years old. I'm gonna be 47 really soon. And, you know, I like wearing suits sometimes, and I'm trying to dress up and grow up and be, you know, an adult sometimes, but mostly I dress down.
By the time the 2000s arrived, things changed in men's fashion. Along with it, what was considered the ideal male physique. The big name driving this was no longer Bruce Weber, with his photos of buffed males, but Paris-based men's designer, Hedi Slimane.
Well, I'm a big fan of Hedi Slimane. I love Eddie so much. He's just been a huge inspiration to so many artists all over the world.
Eddie has certainly created his own style. I think he's so clever, but he is probably the most inventive men's designer in the world.
What Hedi did
completely changed everyone's wardrobe. I mean, until today, you know? And I love that he always takes inspiration from the street.
By the time Eddie Slimane arrived at Saint Laurent the first time, you know, the slim suit, which had already been done by Helmut Lang, the slim suit turned into the skinny suit.
It's all a game, and I think that's the way fashion should be for men. It's like they take it so seriously because they think the meaning to anything, you know, that if you wear this and that, you look like you're gay, or if you do this or that. It's really totally, I find it totally retarded, that way of thinking.
It wasn't even so much the suit as much as the style of the kid that he was discovering. The image of the model that he wanted to be in representing the brand was different.
His work is, for my standard, in the men's design world, the best of the moment because it is the most right for the moment.
Rebel, rebel, your face is a mess and you're like, rebel, rebel, how can you know? Hot tramp, I love you so.
His vision is definitely different than everyone else's. It's just very heady. It's flawless. I find his work flawless.
In the 90s, we had Mark Vanderloo, Marcus Schenkenberg, myself, and David Gandy, who ruled the game. But today we have Sean O'Pride.
Sean O. I'm from VNY Model Management, and I'm from Kennesaw, Georgia.
Kennesaw was quite small when I was born, but it blew up, actually. It was phenomenal. Like, we used to have these parades down. We used to watch the 4th of July fireworks in downtown. I love growing up in Georgia. I love country. I mean, I guess growing up down south, it makes you think of other things that are important. Like, I never grew up in a city. I never went to a city till I was 17. I mean, I'm definitely Georgia born, Georgia bred. One day I'll be Georgia dead. Like, I love being from Georgia. I'm very proud of that.
When Sean left for New York, it was very difficult for me. I was very worried about him as a mom. He was 17 years old, and he'd been with me every day of his life. So I was extremely worried, but I knew he'd be okay. He had Lana.
Went to this Barney's casting. It was like one of the biggest castings that was happening in New York at that time. It was for a campaign with a supermodel girl at that time. And he had no portfolio. He had absolutely nothing except a Polaroid sheet we had just done on him at the agency. And that's what he went to this first casting with. And out of all the people, and you know the top models and everyone that's in New York City, this kid from Kennesaw that just arrived booked the campaign with a Polaroid sheet.
Now, it's all about diversity as designers aspire to represent a truly global audience.
Name and age into the camera.
Alton Mason, 19.
Really, representation is the key.
How long have you been dancing?
All my life.
You just want to show different kind of people to everybody.
And what does it mean to have soul?
It means to be you in the purest form.
So that young kid in the middle of nowhere can see it and be like, oh, I want to be like them.
Here's a choice.
What did I do? I don't like to talk about diversity and not practice it, you know? That's the whole point. I want to see it all mixed.
In this groundbreaking film and book series, we unveil